Hey guys, this is ReactCast. We are here. I'm John.
I'm Rose.
I'm Nikki.
And this is ReactCast number 7. So, sorry about the mishap with number 4, but yeah, that shouldn't happen again. At this point in time, we just finished the week of Attack on Titan, so we're done with that series for now. I was thinking it was going to be done forever, but no, we still have to wait 2 more years. Boring. But still, yeah. How do you guys feel about Attack on Titan now that it's over? Any thoughts on that?
It's still an awesome series,
Yep.
but it was incredibly disappointing the way the season ended because it's been so hype. We've been hyping this up for so long, and it's just been like one full season of hype, and I'm tired.
Honestly, I feel like Attack on Titan's entire list of episodes is hype. I've always felt like we were always heading towards something and never quite reaching. Even when they got outside the wall or they reached the sea, or there was always a foreboding feeling of we're not done here.
Yeah.
So I don't really feel like I don't really maybe because I was used to the hype or felt like I was being hyped for so long. I didn't really get that from the last season. All I felt from it's not even a season. It's not done. It's part 2. All that I felt was they kind of, I feel like they finally just gave us Eren at the end there, just to say, guys, this is still coming. Remember this, and look at this giant image of a weird creature that you have no idea what it is, and wish you can see and know. Okay, hold on to that.
Hold on to that one picture.
Yeah, Attack on Titan, I think we've talked about it in the show before, has always done that whole patty cake system where it's leading up to something, and as soon as you think you get what you want, it's a part of what you wanted.
Yeah.
But it's only a little bit, and they reveal the other thing every single time. I don't know. I was going into it. I was dreading it, but I was dreading it in that I wanted it to be done, But I enjoy the show. I love the show.
Yeah.
And it's one of those shows that you want to find another show that's like it. Yeah. But at the same time, I got that feeling of we're almost there. This show has been really up and down, painful. We're going to end. And no, we're not. Nope. But some people were saying that there's no way they could have done a movie about the last things. I get that. It's just... Don't say it's ending now. Don't say final season, then have a part 2, and then part 3.
Have a part 3.
Yeah, just be honest about it.
Yeah.
And I know some people were saying as well that, they don't have to say that. Of course you don't have to say that. It's just, there's a reason why people are a little bit annoyed,
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just going to add that I think we mentioned it in the last episode of Attack on Titan, but the reasoning behind not just coming out and saying... This is gonna be a 3-parter last season, or I wonder if it's either they didn't know what they were up against with what was left, and maybe the higher ups were like, make it end now and make a big splash, and then as the story was going on and they were getting feedback, they're like, well, I guess I'll give you guys another part or something. I think something like that happened. They weren't planning ahead, or they were planning ahead and it was all just a big PR game. I really don't know, because to me, on the one hand, you get a high viewership because people are like, oh, Attack on Titan, I'm gonna watch everything that I didn't watch and catch up because it's almost ending, and you get all these people on board. But on the other hand, you're gonna start to lose trust in your viewer base. They're like, you said that last time. I'm just gonna wait it out. I'm gonna be second wave. Yeah.
Yeah, at the same time, it's got to be the final time, though, because some people were, I wrote it down here, a lot of people are subtweeting the official announcement of the final part, and they're basically making fun of people for waiting, because there's only 9 chapters left of the entire thing.
Oh.
And a chapter is, I think, 14 to 20 pages, so there's very, very little left, and through all of Attack on Titan so far, we've been through 136 chapters. So there's so little left, and just pick it up online or just look at it online. But, we watched it the whole way. I don't think anybody wants to do that.
Yeah, I'd rather wait and just watch it.
We had a very interesting character analysis of Eren in the comment section. And I will preface it by saying it was controversial. There was a little bit hit back. But I just thought it'd be interesting to see this take, because I never heard anybody give this take of it before. So he's saying, I forgot the person's name who actually wrote it. I want to get your name. But most of the chapters of Attack on Titan have this alternate universe at the end of them that have been confirmed to be canon. In that world, there are no Titans, and Eren has the freedom he's always desired. The result? He's bored out of his mind, and he actually dreams of a huge conflict with zombies so that he can have a drive for doing things. But when he finds out it was a dream, he feels sad and feels despair. So he comes to the conclusion that Eren is a selfish, sad character who prefers conflict over a boring life. He uses his ideals to justify the things he does. He uses Armin and a book as a roundabout way to cure his boredom. He associates freedom with things, but really it's all about him. But yeah, what do you think about that?
I can see that perspective that Eren is selfish, because honestly, so far what we've seen in the season is his driving force for freedom is quite selfish. Mm-hmm. He wants, even though it involves people he cares about, it's still his people, you know, who he cares about. So he's not thinking of or trying to see the side of those people, like that last episode we saw where they were seeing those, you know, outcasts in society, living in tents. And, you know, it seems like he had feelings there. We don't know what kind of feelings, but it's like, does it sink in that there are other people who deserve to live or deserve the freedom you're seeking? Yeah. You know, and here he comes with this ultimate plan to, you know, just get rid of history and civilization and start over. Yeah. So it's kind of like he's being the bad guy, so to speak, but like to what end? Like to his own end. So I can understand people saying he's selfish. Maybe there's more to it, of course, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think because he got the Titan, and this probably goes against what the commenter was saying, that Eren is naturally selfish. But I think the Titan, him getting the Titan, made that selfishness even worse, because not only can he actually do something that he wants, you know, he has the power to, like, the leverage to say, I want to do this, no, I'm gonna go do it, but then he has everybody backing him too. He has, like, the Jaegerists, people are on his side now. He has his ego is saying there's no reason that I'm not right. So what I want is law, basically. But if he again, he is selfish in the this other universe. So I guess he is just naturally selfish, but it's worse because of the Titan.
So just a clarification: this canon was written by the author.
Oh yeah, the author.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So then that's definitely who Eren is. Because another thing that was always running in the back of my mind was, how much does the Titan you receive inform, like, or change you? You know, and his kind of experiences with, like, the, not telepathy, but like connection with past and future, and the fact that he was born to someone who had a Titan. I don't know. We were kind of speculating things like, was he, I don't know, altered mentally or something, but it doesn't seem that way anymore. Now that I'm looking, like it looks like it's just he's got a very stubborn, strong character, and he just ended up getting magnified with this Titan.
I mean, I agreed with some of the points, but the more I thought about it, is I don't think he's totally selfish in that he does what he wants necessarily for just himself. I do believe him when he says he does this for his friends. Yeah. But I can see it being a part of that is that he's using that as a justification to fight back. Because, I mean, he says things like, anybody tries to take my freedom, I'll take it from them first. Like when he was a kid, he killed those people. Like he does have a really strong sense of self-righteousness and indignation if somebody does something towards him. So, and yeah, I do think he is extremely. He sees conflict as an escape from his situation. Yeah, and I think that's what it was in the alternate universe. He was extremely bored with his life. He wanted some kind of a purpose, and that's why when he woke up, he's like, "Oh man, there's no reason for doing anything." So freedom doesn't necessarily justify freedom from oppression. I think it means freedom to do whatever he wants. And a world where anarchy has taken over, he's totally free. you know, like zombie apocalypse or something like that.
Yeah.
But I do still though think that he cares about his friends and that I don't think he was using Armin.
Yeah.
I think he was working with Armin to get out of his trapped state.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think he cares for his friends for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, just an interesting comment there. Yeah, so now that Attack on Titan's done, we're talking about what we're gonna do for the Sunday show and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We still weren't totally sure. Is there anything that you guys have thought of that you wanted to see, or is there anything you wanted to do on a Sunday, or do you agree that maybe waiting is the best choice?
I prefer to like put a show in there. Because we have Attack on Titan ending, ReZero ending, and we already have Wednesday empty.
Yeah.
I know we were trying to hold out for Vinland Saga, but that's not this year anymore, right?
At the very least, very, very late year.
Okay, yeah. So, I don't know. I don't like have a concept in my mind of how long animes last. Like when you watch them once a week, I can't really like. I have to like work it out.
Like 3 to 6 months.
For like one season.
Yeah.
Okay, but most of the good animes are kind of longer. I would think. I'm just guessing. No.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Not always.
I think it's a good idea to put an anime in there. At most, like leave an empty day for when a show comes that we're like, oh, we gotta react to this.
Mm-hmm.
Then we can just swap out that new one that we're reacting to the empty day or something. You know. We kind of keep a day available for recording, that kind of thing. Think down the future line, but I think if we can fill Sunday for the meantime, I think we should.
I was kind of thinking we should fill Wednesday instead. Fill the Wednesday slot and keep our Sunday show open, because usually the Sunday shows are the
big hitters.
Yeah, the big hitters. It was what was it? It was Demon Slayer. It was My Hero. Attack on Titan. I think there was another one. Was there another one? I don't think there was another one. Okay, so it's just the really big animes that are also really hype that I really enjoy. So I was thinking Wednesday was like we can kind of afford to lose Wednesday, because that's also our live action. Show day. Yeah. So it's not as big hitting. We can afford to lose that one.
I guess that's why I was saying if we do put something on Sunday, we can move it, you know? Unless it's like a show is coming out now, then that would be a stupid idea, unless it's a big hitter. But we can always move a Sunday show to Wednesday. But the reason I was saying to leave Wednesday is the possibility, I know after Boba Fett, it was like, the possibility of Kenobi. You know, we could think about that. And I think that's a Wednesday, isn't it?
Friday.
It's a Friday.
Oh, curveball.
And much more than that, the first 2 episodes are going up at the same time.
Oh. Maybe they don't have any confidence in the first episode's, like, pilotiness.
Maybe they just don't want a pilot that's like an hour long, so they split it into like 2 30
Oh, yeah, that maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, the Sunday show... the worst case scenario has been, like you mentioned, like I didn't want to put a show there that we then have to move, because sometimes people have a hard time adjusting to change YouTube. But I mean, we could 100% we could at any time. And also, I was wondering if the possibility of something just showing up that's perfect to put in the slot, but that's very unlikely.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because that was the other thing I was gonna say. We can just do some research and look into the news, anime news.
The upcoming.
Yeah, I don't know how easy that is, because you usually kind of have to rely on translations, or do they give out English
They tell you when an English is coming.
Yeah, subtitles usually come out really fast.
No. I mean like the news,
English?
but like an official English translation from the mangakas and studios and stuff like that.
Crunchyroll has a news section where you usually get a lot of that.
All right, so I think we should like look into research that way, so we can see ahead. Okay, so and so is expected, and we can kind of that way we'll most likely not be surprised. Is what I'm trying to say. So we won't be like hitting like starting a show and then a month later so and so is coming out and we're like, oh, we weren't prepared for this, you know.
Yeah. The only upcoming shows that I know about that we were interested in was Vinland Saga and Mob Psycho, the 3rd season. But I've was looking at the new animes that were coming out. Like episode 1s is like a season of episode 1s right now, so they're not that great.
Wow.
Yeah, we're in a dry spell right now. Apparently, we're just waiting on the good stuff to come. But yeah.
Yeah, it's weird how that works, right? You get so much content coming out regularly, but then every once in a while you see the thumbnail of every single YouTube video, like they're talking about, oh, the hottest new show, or this show's coming, and then you check it out, and it really is the only good show in the time period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's not the only show that ended at the beginning of Attack on Titan. We also had ReZero end this week at 12.
Yes.
Thoughts on that?
Wow, spectacular.
Yeah.
Beautiful, amazing, spectacular, wonderful, show-stopping.
Yeah, I was very sad. Actually, to be completely honest, I was more sad at the end of ReZero than Attack on Titan. Even though ReZero is coming, like, it's guaranteed coming more.
Yeah.
Just, like, not watching it anymore, because ReZero is, like, up there with one of the more early shows for our channel.
Yeah.
One of the first.
It's one of the first. Yeah, I don't remember when we started it, but I remember when you introduced it, and I was a little bit nervous, and in the first episode I was like, oh no, I'm going to hate this. But I talked about it in the end of ReZero. By, like, I want to say half the season.
Half
I was
season,
hooked.
First season.
Half of the first season of ReZero. I was hooked, yeah. So, I feel a certain sadness to say goodbye to Subaru for a while.
Yeah.
You know, I really enjoyed that show.
Yeah, but he actually got closer to Amelia.
Yeah.
We made significant steps in the relationship.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of this community.
Yeah, because listen, you and I know the pain of watching a show of the stupid will they won't you.
Yes.
And then at the very end, they only suggest that they end together.
Yes, it's the worst.
I hate that too.
Oh.
I hate
They don't even hold hands. Like they might be like about to like inching closer to hold hands, and then somebody else, the other harem girl, walks in and is like, "Hey, why are you guys out here? Let's go get some drinks."
Yeah.
It's the worst.
It's awful. But yeah, this show generally felt like a paced story where you can see milestones occurring in the story.
Yeah.
And sure, some things repeated, but the people change no matter what, and I really like that.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I know you already kind of said it, but what did you think this show was going to be when you first started watching it?
The retrospective is interesting, but it's like, because I'm like trying to think about what I thought in the beginning, but in the beginning I was like, I knew it was going to subvert my expectations somehow because it was an actual good isekai. So I was like, well, it can't be what I expect. But I kind of, I expected the more happiness in the beginning, that would be throughout the season, but no, it was just like a lot of losing and learning to deal with it.
Yeah. Pain.
Yeah. This anime is just so different. It's hard to like class it, so it's hard for me to contrast it
with
from
anything.
something that doesn't a genre that doesn't exist. I feel like it's too good to be an isekai.
Wow. You really gonna do them like that?
Yes.
I actually agree.
Yeah.
I being the one who doesn't have experience with the isekai trauma, found from you guys' explanation, like when you introduced, you're like, you were telling us it's an isekai, but it's nothing like the isekais at all. It's really good. And so I didn't know what to expect. What is an isekai anyways? You guys were kind of trying to explain, you know, this happens, then this time, and this always happens kind of thing. But from the first episode, even before the trauma started, where he was the protagonist who knew he was in a isekai.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm the protagonist, I should have some power.
Yeah.
You know, just that alone was like, okay, I'm going to like this, you know? Like I said, I didn't really know what to expect, but I was pleasantly surprised that it was not run-of-the-mill.
Yes.
And the character Subaru was, what is it? What's the word? Like...
Relatable?
Sure, but I meant he was
fleshed out?
No, he was, you liked him because he was
Likeable.
endearing.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, he was very endearing. Like he just had this likable personality. This kind of skinny, scrawny guy, and then out of nowhere can fight a little, then fails. So many things like you said, so many directions where it subverted your expectations constantly the first few episodes. So it was great to draw you in. When the trauma started, it was really hard for me. Like I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know. But then somehow I was able to. The writers were able to just make you fall in love with the show. Yeah. Even with the trauma. It's weird. I wish I could document exactly, maybe I should go back and watch the videos. Document see if I could figure out at what point did the authors accomplish this hook into my soul? Because I think about Code Geass, I'm going back to Code Geass. It's an interesting show, but I don't have the hook that if they suddenly were like, oh, we're out of budget, sorry guys, I'd be like, sure, okay, bye. I know the whole show's out already, but I don't know that I have that hook like I have with ReZero. I'm very in love with the characters in ReZero, every single one of them. Seeing Ram carried around right now is so sad. I feel everything. Even Oswald. So it's I'm really surprised by how they were able to do so many painful things and still make you feel at home in an anime like that. It's weird.
It is.
I think maybe I was trying to think about this while you were saying it, and I was thinking maybe it was the fact that Subaru's acceptance of the situation made it so much easier for us to accept it. Because even when you think about Subaru, is he dies and then he comes back and then he gets to the point where he died before, he's still super positive. Yeah. And he's still acting kind of like this is his first run. He's confident in the situation regardless of how likely it is that he's going to die. And then he moves on super quick. I think that's also a big part of it. He almost dies with Garf several times, but then he goes back and he buddies up Garf again every single time. And it's just okay. And then he has the fight with Garf, and he's just okay, bud, let's go to the sanctuary. Yeah. It's oh, we're already in the sanctuary, in the tomb or whatever. And I'm don't you have anything to say? Yeah, you can vent. You can do that, right?
Yeah. I was thinking about it as you said it. I wonder if the lack of venting is a part of why we connect to the character. I'm wondering. If the character himself won't mourn for himself, and he clearly is having a hard time, and he's carrying that burden, everyone else, connects to him more because he's kind of carrying this on his own, and so it's kind of watching someone with a brave face. When we saw Boji crying to himself in the mirror, nobody knows he does that. Yeah. I wonder if that's a part of it. And also, I think a part of it is Code Geass, when it introduces the characters, it's just hi, I'm Lelouch. I really hate Britannia. And immediately, that first episode, he kills all his guards, tells them to kill themselves. Remember that? Yeah. We were watching this character who we didn't really get the chance to ease into him. We were kind of just there and the story's going, which personally, I kind of like that, because usually with shows, it takes forever to ramp up. Yeah. But with ReZero, we were introduced to this kind of this lovable goofball who's really perverted, but he's kind of wears his heart on his sleeve. Yeah. And we know, because we're inside his head, that he means no ill will. He's just here to have a good time, and he's trying to play a game. And he keeps getting hurt in the process. And so we just want to see him at least get some good out of it. Yeah. So I think a part of that just attaches you immediately.
Maybe. Yeah. That's an interesting point, the weird acceptance. Because I remember in the beginning we were voicing our concern, he just keeps not dealing with this problem until it mounted and he was just crying. So I wonder if the writers because we talk about the blank slate character, where it's meant to allow the watcher to put themselves in the show. And I wonder this Subaru is kind of not quite the opposite spectrum, because he's relatable in many ways. But he's also not relatable in that he doesn't deal with this weirdness of dying and coming back like I think most people would. Like most people would be breaking down from the beginning.
Yes.
Be like, what? Why am I here? Wandering around, find someone I know, kind of thing. But Subaru just bounces back until like he's forced to face himself.
Yeah.
So I wonder if like this is another way, like subconsciously. I'd love to like hear psychologists talk about Subaru.
ReZero.
Yes, ReZero and Subaru specifically, like, and how he works as a protagonist. Because I wonder if the way they wrote him is another way to like connect a watcher, like in the like to see the way he deals with emotions in like a half relatable, half what the heck are you doing kind of way.
Yeah.
Like to make you like want more from him. Like, no, you need to do this and this and this, and it gets you invested. I don't know. I'm just like spitballing.
I think a part of it, and I'm just going to like armchair psychologist real quick, is what I've always thought the reason why he bounces back so easily is because in the very beginning he actually didn't care if he died. And I think that's what they kind of touched on when he finally went back and saw his parents.
Yeah.
Is he really had a really empty, hollow life, and he didn't really feel any reason to keep going. So sure, he didn't want the pain of dying. Of course, like nobody wants pain.
Yeah.
But every time he died, it was like, oh, I got another chance to do this a better way. He never feared death itself because he didn't care. Whereas if you think about somebody who's like got a lot of connections, like maybe a father, a mother, or somebody like that with a lot of connections, they don't want to die. Not selfishly, they don't want to die because of how it'll affect their family, something like that, Which is why, if you think about it in the story, he stopped trying to die when he went to the witch's tea party and they showed him the alternate dimensions, or like how it hurts everybody else whenever you die.
Right.
That's when he started to not want to die. So I think it's something like that.
Yeah. He even went on this whole journey because he just hung out with Amelia for the day, and he went to the loot house and he saw that she was gonna die there. Because remember, the very next loop, he was like, I already did that. I'm gonna go. He was doing the video game route thing. He was just like, oh, I already did that. I don't want to do it again. But then he was like, she's gonna die at the loot house. So then then that's when the whole series starts.
Yeah.
So he's like wildly selfless and selfish at the same time.
That's something else about the show, is where it is a very complicated, like,
The people.
Emotional setup.
Yeah.
Specifically Subaru, but I think the other characters too. I think Amelia is growing in terms of complexness. She started out pretty light, but they're growing her slowly. She's still not quite fully like solid to me, but she's growing in complexity, and I feel like Subaru's complexity has been like seeded from the start. And just like you were bringing up, they kind of told us why his isekaiing was so seamless, I guess, for him when we did that flashback with his family, because something you brought up, I think, I don't remember what show we were talking about it, where most of the time when they have an isekai, the person who is taken to the next dimension like has no connections.
Yeah.
So that it makes you not feel like, what about family? What about girlfriend? What about high school? You know? And so you don't think about those connections. You can just fully immerse. Yeah. So it helps that we didn't know anything about Subaru's past, and I wonder if we saw more, it would have been harder for us to understand him for so long. Because wasn't it like season, what season did we see?
It was season 2 that we went back to see his past.
Right, so that would have been a long time for us to be hanging on to this idea, well, Subaru, you're acting awfully confident and like knowing you'll never see your family again. Yeah. You know, so it was a good way, the way they kind of laid it out and built up the complexity of his character was really well done.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Yeah, it's just a small thing, but I really enjoy when they talk about why you do things. Like, they don't just allow somebody to just be brave. They confront the intention behind the bravery.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's almost like, why does it matter why he's being brave? But then it's like, no, you're not being brave because you generally don't care if you're being brave because you don't care if you die. Yeah. Not because you're trying to protect people who are alive. Yeah. You know? And I can almost like feel Subaru sometimes like, what? Okay, so now this is an issue too, you know, but it's stuff like that the show confronts, like, why are you like this? But why do you do that? You know? Yeah. Why do you care about Amelia?
Yeah. And this interesting, the whole bravery thing, like, because it's weird that, because I remember I was struggling with that when we were doing the whole whale arc, when Otto left him, and he was like, I don't want to die, want to die. I was like, you don't want to die? Because just before that, he was like, I'm ready to die. You know, he was acting like it's fine, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then here he was going off crazy, like, I don't want to die, don't let me die, kind of thing. So it was weird for me. And then now we're like understanding, it's not that he was brave. It's like he really he was ready to die, but he didn't want to feel death, kind of thing. So it's like understanding the complexities of like, why are you thinking this? Helps us to understand his reaction in different situations.
Yeah. To clarify, we were talking about Subaru.
Oh. Yeah.
Because you mentioned Otto. Oh. And it took me a second to like transition who you were talking about.
I'm sorry.
My brain.
But before we wrap up on the zero topic, I think you had a very interesting theory you want to bring up?
Yes. Mm-hmm. So the theory we just finished season 2, and we got a little bit more about Roswaal and about how he's been alive for 400 years, even though he's human. And he was talking to Betty, and he said, in order to move your soul into a new vessel, the vessel has to have a large amount of mana. And we're all theorizing that was melancholy that he used, but we're also thinking he needs to be a really strong vessel to change soul, right? And then he also wants to bring back his teacher, right? And Ram with her horn is one of the strongest mana users, right? So he probably wants to use Ram's body as a vessel for Echidna to come back. That's why Ram means so much to him.
And it all falls in line because it doesn't make sense that Roswaal just has this care for Ram unless because his dearest wish, which he's told us he's thrown away everything else.
Yes. And
his only dearest wish is that to see Echidna again. So it makes sense that everybody else is going to be directly in connection to Echidna's well-being. Yeah. So that's a good theory.
Support my theory.
I'm actually with you on this theory mainly because remember when Roswaal had just finished the fight and a description happened and Ram burned the book.
Yeah.
He immediately started healing her. And he was like, oh, right, and started healing her.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if maybe it's because the last thing he knows about from the book is to take care of Ram.
Yeah.
And we don't know of any reason why he would need Ram for any... And people have been saying that the big theory is the books aren't defective. Remember how we were talking about Beatrice? The book isn't defective. It's just that she was waiting for that person who does not exist. That's why it's blank. But Roswaal wants to get to his teacher. So along the way to get to his teacher, it means they need Ram for something. So I actually with you on that theory.
Yeah. So the way the book works is it just points you to your greatest desire, right?
Yeah, your greatest desire.
Because I thought it was just a book of like everything, all of the things.
Me too.
I thought that too. No.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I really am curious, like, how in the world did greed like get
write everything?
Yeah, like how does she do that? So she has this tea party place where all the witches meet, where it's interdimensional, whatever. She's had source of all information, all knowledge or whatever. So is it that because she was also working on soul transportation?
Transportation.
I don't know. Transmission.
Instant transmission.
So it makes sense that she has like other, tricks up her sleeve, but like fortune telling, like knowing the future, that's kind of big. So it makes sense that's why she was able to protect herself with the sanctuary, because she could see the future in some way, or I don't know, get information somehow.
I think the way she kind of sees the future, and even with the book, I think it's more of her educated guess with all of the knowledge in the world. Because remember that the whole thing with like Subaru's trials, she extrapolated how his parents would be from his memories. It's just an educated guess. And then she made an educated guess about what would happen in his worlds if they continued after his death. So I'm wondering if that's just how she works, is educated guesses.
That's a good point. That's really smart if that's what she did. Like 400 years worth of information. Wow.
Yeah, and you have to remember the books. I don't know if the books are like directly being written at any given time. She could have just like enchanted it with her knowledge to do that for her.
Yeah.
But also, it's important to note that a lot of what we know for a fact is kind of what the fan base has gleaned and put together. Like the way the books work exactly is never technically actually revealed. It's kind of extrapolated through everything that's just happened. To everybody has come to the conclusion that it brings you to your greatest desire. I mean, I'm pretty sure I kept you said it at one point, but it's just like everybody finally agrees on that point. But technically, we never actually seen inside and how it works like that.
Okay.
Like we technically don't know why Betty's book is blank. But from the conversations we see, it makes sense that because that person never existed, that's why it's blank.
Right.
You know, so stuff like that. Yeah, so it's even though the books are so far ahead, there's a lot of gaps that are left intentionally open for interpretation, like the books.
Yeah. It makes me wonder, because half of Betty's book was empty.
Yeah.
And then also so was half of Beetlejuice's.
Oh yeah, I was just thinking about that. Like, Subaru wrote on some of the pages with his blood. And I'm wondering, right, I think we mentioned this before, like in the discussion of a ReZero, that the defective tomes of wisdom were defective because they didn't tell you what was going to happen. They made what was going to happen. So, what? Say that again?
Instead
they didn't
of
tell you the future, instead they what?
It made the future when you wrote in it.
Oh.
So, because Beetlejuice only died after
he wrote on
after he wrote in it with his blood. It was like, you die. He said that in English too. But it might also make sense because we know that Beetlejuice went with Vanity, and Vanity has the power of rewriting.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. So it could be that, and Vanity is a part of the witch's cult in whatever manner she is.
Yeah.
So she probably is like, maybe it's also the defective nature of it is like copycat. Like, oh, Tome of Wisdom, I'm going to make some Tomes of Wisdom but they don't, like you say, they don't tell you what's going to happen. They make it happen using her power instead of Greed's power. So it's like she's trying to be, leader of this cult thing and making things that people can follow, so to speak.
Yeah.
Interesting. So she kind of writes her own future through these people.
Yeah.
That would make sense given how bored with everything she seems.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she could just make whatever she wants.
Except for the door. We still don't know what's behind door number 1.
Doom. It's just that empty black thing from Full Metal Alchemist, the little dwarf in the plastic. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
He just comes out.
Maybe that's where Satella is.
This is just something else in general. Is I wanted to make note of the dedicated fan base with common commenters that we've had, because I've noticed like people like Temperance or the Realist one, they have been. I look at other channels like Blind Wave, Normies, or even I'm on Snow, and I see you guys on all those videos. And it's just, I think it really speaks to how invested a lot of people are in this show.
Yeah.
But aside from that, despite being on all those videos, I think only a handful of times I've ever seen a comment that I could truly call an out-and-out spoiler. Usually when something's kind of a spoiler, it's in the gray area where it could be, can, maybe not. Yeah. So I just want to say thank you in general, you guys who have been commenting this whole time. You've been very, very pleasant to interact with. There was never really anybody who was just out-and-out negative. So thank you very much for that.
Thanks, guys.
And just to add to the whole, like, super fan thing, it's always amazing to me where some people we talk with in the Discord, like we're talking about ReZero and they can say, well, chapter 13 page 6 this and this happens, or like they're throwing back to moments and they're like, oh yeah, that happened in episode 5, or they're like encyclopedia. I'm like, wow, so dedicated. It's very cool to see someone like that hyped about a show. So it's cool that we can like have a conversation with someone like that and not like offend them with our lack of understanding things or anything. And like we have enough interest and I don't know, grasp of what's going on to make them feel like they can talk to us.
And it's also not annoying to talk to them. Like they're still enthusiastic about the show even though they can't say certain things. They're like, oh, you're gonna love this, and it's really fun to interact with them.
Agreed. I wanted to make a note of this just because I saw it making the rounds, and so Morbius, I did consider having us like maybe go watch the movie Morbius, do a review.
Morbius.
What is
that?
Morbius.
Matrix?
No, Morbius.
Morbius. It's a Marvel character.
Oh, okay.
The vampire dude.
Oh.
Or DC, I'm not sure. Marvel. Yes,
Marvel, I think it's Marvel.
But it's getting totally review bombed, but that's not the reason we're not doing it. It's just I thought about it and I thought, just a Kaizen movie review that's really connected to stuff that we usually do. And if it was a Marvel character we knew, I'd push for it a bit more.
Yeah.
But it's just a character out of nowhere we don't really know.
Yeah.
So we don't really have information to draw on to critique it necessarily. So I just thought, well, it's basically just doing a regular movie review.
Yeah.
But I mean, so I just like it more if the movie reviews that we do are either connected to the channel or they're characters that we know enough about so where we can talk more in depth about it.
Yeah.
I agree. To your point, like, I think it's, for a smaller channel, it would be better if we already have a viewer base that knows, you react to insert show here, and then a movie's coming, like, they'll be expecting our input from it, you know? So coming out fresh with, like, we have done some Marvel characters, Marvel shows. What is it? Falcon.
Winter Soldier, yeah.
Yeah. So, but I don't know this Morbius character. He's brand new, like you're saying. So it might be harder to just have a one-off video, because it's easier to, like, build a viewer base with multiple shows. So if it was streaming?
Yeah.
I think we would be able to do it, probably.
Yeah. But I think it would be difficult to comment on certain things in the show because we don't know the history of the character in the comics. So if something is wrong and it doesn't connect in the movie, we'd be like, why is that like that?
This
but
is true.
For certain things that happens in regular Marvel movies, we know that a character does this thing because they're like this, but it's only mentioned in the comics, never in the comics, never in the movies.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of only barely connects to it, but it just reminds me of stuff like when we were watching the Loki TV show. How we saw different characters in the background. Remember when they went to that, like, dead alternate dimension?
Yeah.
And there were so many things in the background
that
the
Easter
you
eggs.
and I were talking about and bringing up. But there were a lot of people who were commenting on the video of like, here at this you can see that, or there you can see that. But we mentioned it in the videos, so there's just people going around to
they just go to different videos, telling it. It's like, I'm not going to check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But stuff like that, I think we can add back for those people who are watching us who don't know about those things. So I feel good about saying stuff like that. But yeah.
I think on the side of the makers of the movies, though, of the, like, Morbius, I'm, like, I want to say 75 to 80% sure that they're going to give some backstory or, like, explanation about Morbius, I think. Because he's not like a top what is it, headline character.
No.
His name, the only thing that comes to mind is Mobius from Matrix. So it's like Morpheus. Oh, so who's Mobius?
No one.
Nobody.
Oh, it's just because you guys were saying Mobius. Yeah, Morpheus. Anyways, that's the only thing that comes to my mind. Yeah. So and it doesn't sound like he's connected in any way. Vampire. Okay, so it's like it's hard to for them to make a movie like this and rely on comic information, especially Marvel. Marvel is, I think we can trust them to explain stuff to us. Yeah. I think. They might do Easter egg things that are unimportant and then make excited fan comic readers out of it. But for the most part, I think we'd be able to follow and discuss things. So I wouldn't actually worry about that so much. The only thing I worry about is the viewers who might not be looking for our channel to actually watch a review on it. It would be more like a reaction that would draw viewers.
Yeah.
Yeah, similar story for Ghost Knight. We very nearly pushed for us to watch
Moon Knight.
Yeah. Did I say Ghost Knight?
Yeah. Ghost Knight.
I was thinking Ghost Knight. I was thinking it's not Ghost Knight. Don't say Ghost Knight. Yeah, I was thinking of pushing for us to watch Moon Knight, but I really, honestly, I could just say just kind of fell off, and I just didn't. And it's already out now, so then I was like, okay, it's in the past at this point.
Is this a series?
It's a streaming show.
I thought it was gonna be a movie.
I did too, but no, it's a streaming show.
Oh. I was more interested in Moon Knight than I was in Morbius.
Yeah. We could still maybe just watch it on our own time. It's possible. I was going to check it out and see if it was something you guys would be interested in. It's just I wasn't too sure about like how crazy to get with the subject matter, but yeah.
Can you give like a general idea of what it's about?
Yeah, so it's this guy who's I believe he's a mercenary. No, not a mercenary. He's an archaeologist. I saw the the plot points.
Vastly two different things, mercenary to
There
archaeologist.
was I read a plot point last night and it's confusing me. There was a mercenary involved, but he's kind of like an archaeologist.
Okay.
And he goes and he finds some Egyptian tomb or something. And when he goes inside there, he interacts with some artifacts that implants within him, apparently the ancient god that people used to deal with, Horus. And he's like the justice dealer.
Mm-hmm.
And so he wants him to be the justice dealer. But in doing so, it seriously messes with the mind of Moon Knight. Now, I don't fully know a whole lot in depth about Moon Knight, so I may be messing up some of the smaller points. But at the end of the day, he ends up with DID, dissociative identity disorder. And so he will occasionally just swap between like a serious person or a funny person, kind of like Deadpool.
Is it going to be the birth of another Ryan Reynolds?
Ryan Reynolds is Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds is Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. At this point, he's just playing himself in every movie.
This is true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, can you imagine getting to the points that you just get paid to play yourself in every movie?
Yeah.
The worst possible outcome of this is that he's not playing himself and he's just a character he made, and now he is the character.
Yeah.
No, that's not the case.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing that would like ruin it, I think, too, would be he has a desire to play a more serious character.
Yeah.
Like he has we don't know. Does he have the ability to play a serious character?
Oh, well, he was a little more serious in the Adam Project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
I mean,
but
he
to me
wisecracking, yeah.
Yeah, to me, the Adam Project I felt like it was a stifled Ryan Reynolds, honestly, when I watched
Really?
it. Yeah, I felt like he was trying not to give a wisecrack every 5 seconds. That's how it felt to me. So so the seriousness was forced to me. So, but I don't know if it was the way they wanted it to be, just to be like seem like that, because he's talking to a child and he has to behave himself, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or if it was him trying to fight back himself and act the character.
Yeah.
So yeah, so maybe he's okay. Maybe he loves this gig and he'll play himself for the rest of his life, or maybe he wants more variety in his life. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's free money, man.
Free money. Did you see the mac and cheese, the Kraft mac and cheese commercial with the Adam Project, by the way?
No.
It was like the kid. He was like, Kraft mac and cheese. If your parents don't buy it for you, stop loving them. And then Ryan Reynolds in the back is like, I feel like this is my fault.
That kid actually, I didn't fully watch the movie. He's a good actor.
He was a good actor.
He was. I thought at first I was worried that he like being matched up in protagonist level with Ryan Reynolds was gonna be troublesome for him, but no, he stood his ground as a good character. Very good.
Mm-hmm. And I also just wanted your thoughts on not being able to do the arc discussions for Hunter x Hunter. Like, does that change how you wanted to go into the show?
I was kind of disappointed
Me too.
because I just wanted to talk about stuff, but I don't know what I want to talk about. I just know I want to talk about it.
Well, I personally, like, I'm not. You guys are better at remembering the things that happened in the show. Although, like, you were talking about what show were we watching? Is it Code Geass, where you remember things like just before they happen? Yeah. So you have that issue, but like I will like fully not remember it happened at all and just react as if I've seen it for the first time.
Yeah.
So like if we were going through the arcs, we'd be like, oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So I really would have loved the refresher to kind of get back into pace with the characters, understand their journey and feel, because I remember when we were watching it, I was really feeling the grind, and it was grinding because it was a lot of episodes. And some of them were a little slower.
Yeah.
So it felt like a grind when we were watching it. So I feel like jumping into the Ant arc, I'm gonna miss that understanding, that feeling, that relationship building. The history between characters and the pain and suffering. So I'm sad. I'm sad that we're not doing the arcs, but I think it'll be okay doing the kind of quick overview in the beginning of or whatever we're doing. I don't remember what we're doing.
Yeah, we weren't too sure. I was thinking maybe do a separate video that released on the same day, just one time. A long crash course, basically, of this arc, and then this arc, and then this arc. I don't know how that would work, like, if that would even flow very well. Or because what I'm thinking is, if we start talking about arcs, we're going to have a super, super long discussion.
This is true.
But at the same time, I want to kind of refresh everyone's memories and stuff like that. So I'm not too sure, but next Wednesday, we're going to be doing that. Yeah.
Let's just like have a video of us, like we just bring up the wiki.
Yeah.
And we just like look at all of the arc characters. It's like, remember that guy? He was a jerk.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe something like that. But, you know, thinking about those past arcs, it made me remember how much I do not miss, what's it called? What was it called? Game Island?
Greed Island.
Greed Island.
Yeah.
You keep saying that. You're like, that's your least favorite arc.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has some great moments, but that
Just
that
dragged
season,
on.
yeah, that made me feel like I was watching a show that was taking a while.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get that feeling through the entire thing, even through the other episodes that dragged.
Yeah.
Is that season? It's just like, okay, can we move on?
But you know what? When you finally leave Greed Island, it feels like, wow, I did it. I did this.
You do.
I got off the island. You know, so it's kind of cool. At the end, you do feel a bit of satisfaction.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
You do. But it's kind of like, you know, running a marathon. You don't necessarily want to do it again.
Yeah.
You know, for the rest of your life, you can say you ran a marathon.
exactly.
Yeah.
We made it to Greed Island.
We made it.
And I just wanted to bring up that we're working on merch.
Yay!
Yeah.
We
So-
have some designs. We Redbubble decided to kick us off even though we haven't done it. We just made the account, and they were like, "No."
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to look at other print-on-demand stuff or manufacturers or.
Did they say why?
No,
Nah.
I appealed, so we're gonna find out. They already said, like, we have the right to not tell you anything. So we may or may not hear back from them at all. And they said, like, the wait time is 2 weeks.
Okay.
So I don't know if we're gonna go with Redbubble. I liked their offerings. They had a lot of variety of things you could get, and I thought it would have been a really great place to start. So super low maintenance for us, because we don't want to really host. We don't want to have inventory. So I'm really sad to see Redbubble do this to us.
Yeah.
The name React City, I don't know.
Because it's linked to Nike.
It's linked to Nike, and even though Nike's not in our realm, they don't even have a YouTube channel for React City. It just, the fact that it's Nike
Yeah.
is just a little bit concerning. And I remember when I just looked it up, and I was like, I didn't find anything at first. It was like after we changed our name. I was like, wait a minute. There's a shoe called React City.
Yeah.
But anyways, we got to sort that out. So we're going to have to talk about that and see, are we still called React City at the release of this video?
Probably.
Probably, yeah.
Just a question. So is React City the shoe, is it a product line or just an individual shoe?
I think it's
just a shoe.
I'm
Yeah.
sure it's fine if it's
style
just
of
a shoe. Or a style of shoe.
Like
I don't know.
It's
There are many. When it says React City, it's like a lot of different styles. So maybe it is a product line, but it's Nike. It's just
shoes.
Yeah, it's
It's
shoes.
a product line of shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or our merch line is called something different.
Completely. Yeah.
City line,
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, that's fine.
skyline.
Definitely copyrighted. The word sky is one of the most contentious topics in trademarks.
Wow.
Skynet.
You know, Google OneDrive was supposed to be called SkyDrive.
Ah.
They're threatening to sue them to Kingdom Come. So it has to be OneDrive.
Wow.
There can only be one drive.
I wanted to also put it out there. Yeah, what would you guys as viewers like to see as merch? That'd be really helpful if you guys said, like, would you like to see more t-shirts? Would you like to see more mugs? Would you like to see what kind of designs? Like, do you want to see designs of us just making stuff for like the city logo? Do you want intricate designs? Just anything? Just say in the comments.
Throw some ideas
Yeah,
out
just throw some ideas. Just so we get a good idea of what you guys are interested in.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much everything I have. Is there
Same.
anything else that you guys want to talk about?
Nah.
Oh.
No.
Oh, I did have something else. Yeah, so
Look at the time.
yeah, but like 5 minutes will get cut off.
Okay.
I wanted to bring up that remember that you can post comments of questions, and I always check the one that's up on YouTube to see what you guys are saying, and then we'll try to respond in the video. If you guys have a quick question that you would like answered, we also have a Discord where you can put it there if you guys don't necessarily want it to be answered on the podcast. But other than that, we had a nice comment from Settsu. We've spoken with Settsu a couple times in Discord.
Yeah.
He said, Goatland Saga, Villain Saga.
Oh.
It is my favorite manga series for a reason. Can't wait for y'all to watch this next arc. I'm enjoying this early access.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah, the early access to number 4 because it went out too soon.
yeah.
A lot of people, like a lot of our patrons were like we explained on Patreon, oops, this was, wrongly released, and then some of them were like, I saved the tab so you can't take it away. I was like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah. But yeah, so thank you guys very much for being here. Guys, if you like your time here, please remember to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more. And check out Patreon description if you guys would like to see the early access to the Reactcast as you are now if you haven't. So thank you very much. Remember, leave a question or post anything that you want to say. And we'll see you guys next time, React City. Goodbye.
Bye.